kilala ko siya.
Okay na po.
On na yung Zoom. May nag-text na yung kay Judy. Hindi na rin ma-access.
Ngayon po naka-on.
Magandang umaga po sa atin. Sa report mo magdabli tayo sa atin at patuloy mo mong pumapasok mga kapanood classes. Marami po nasa Zoom ngayon. Siguro dahil din sa alert level 1 nito. Ngayon may content search siguro ng COVID. Pero bukod pa po dun sa pangkalusog ng thesis na itong hinaharap, nasaksihan din natin noong siguro nung nakaraang dalawang paghahalal ng mga administrador ng Antasan na tila malikat na sa atin no, na parang hinihila yung demokratikong pamumuno sa ating pamatasan. Ramdam ng maraming mga guro, mga kawani, estudyante ng talaga sa mga ninais na ipapili bilang mga pinuno ng pamatasan. At syempre, kung nakikita natin mga kasama na hindi demokratiko ang pamumuno sa ating pamantasan, bilang masalang humihila para sa ating iit ang ating mga hinihingi tulad ng mas mataas na sahod, mas maraming benepisyo para sa ating mga guro, kawani at reps, at iba pa na mapapaaliwan ng ating mga puso. Ngayon, lumalalanin ang ekonomikal at politikal na
Pagdugtong sa sinabi mo, ang forum natin ngayong umaga ay isa pong patuloy na pag-tingin at pag-discuss sa nangyayaring kawalan nga ng demokratikong pamamahala at syempre kailangan din natin makita ang iba't ibang aspeto nito lalo na ngayon nasa kolehiyo tayo ng arte at literatura at isama din natin umaga ang mga speakers na magbabahagi sa atin kung ano ba ang papel ng humanities sa lalo na ng mga mananaliksik, sa sining, sa wika, sa panitikan, paano ang pagtuturo ng mga ito at paglilikha ng sining din. Iba't-ibang anyo. Ito ay mga tulong sa ating pagsulong ng pamamahalang may demokrasya. Sabihin, pamamahalang may partisipasyon, may accountability, may transparency kasi ito yung ating pamangkayan ng isang pamamahalang. So, maraming salamat po sa ating pagdalo ngayong umaga dahil din sa ating mga participants sa Zoom. Pasalamat po mula kami sa mga nagtayo, naglunsad ng forum na ito at yun ay unaang movement of democratic governance. Ito po ay isang organisasyon ng faculty at mga kawani na sulong sa bansa. Sa universidad, kasama po all the academic employees ng Diliman, Congress of Teachers for Educators for Nationalism and Democracy or CONTEN, at of course, ang Kolehiyo ng Mga.
Kami po ang inyong mga tagapagpadalo ngayon. Ako po si Monsi mula sa Departamento ng Political Party ng Pilipinas.
Ako naman po si Kit mula sa Department of English.
At upang simulan ang ating programa ngayong araw, syempre mapapakinggan natin ang pambungad na pananalita ng walang iba kundi ang Tikano ng Kolehiyo ng Arte at Literatura. Nandito po si Dean Jimbuena pa.
Salamat po. So, welcome dito sa aming Billion 1131. So, wala pa kami dito sa ating. Alala mo nung 2 weeks, April, no? Pero, meeting na URS. So, lalagay ng na ribbon sa so, inilagay namin sa hardin ng iba. Hanggang ngayon, nandun pa. So, pinalutan namin ito. Kasi yun ang kumakatawan sa aming kulehiyo. No? At ngayon nga, meron tayong forum. So, tawag. So, forum.
Inquire.
Pero hapon kasi meron din kaming forum na ganito. Pero tayo kasi pinapangalanan natin. Nung inisip, marami na pala yung ginagamit. Listahan. Hindi mas popular sa mga tenure ng mga estudyante colloquium. No? So colloquium naman mag-represent ang gusto mga tenure. No? Tapos may talas-tasa, talay-tayan, ipanan. Hindi, merong pulong-pulong. Si Marcos, no? Pulong-pulong sa kaunlatan. No? So, ugnayan, hanggang pumasok, no? Yung iba pang mga terminolohiya mula sa wikang vernacular, no? Pakikhinabi, na ginagamit natin sa Asian Centers of Variables. Ano rin yun? Pulong, no? Samahan, no? Tapos may dap-ay or dap-ayan, no? Sa Cordillera naman. Tapos kahapon, yung ginamit namin, isang magiging danawan na salita, isang bibidyala. Sabihin nyo, isang pulong din na yun. Noong Marso naman, nung Women's Month, ginamit namin ng pakaradyaan. Ito isang tausog na salita, isang celebration naman. No? So, at syempre, meron kami bahaginan, pagtitipon, kwentuhan, yung simpleng punta. No? Or kung pagtitipon, pwede katipunan o katipunan na alam naman natin nagluwan ng isa. No? Anyway, pero sa mga millennial, academic yung Maritesans, well, tingnan natin. Yung naranatin ko for 10 years, maraming may bridge doon. Paggabi, may mga umpukan doon, may mga usapan. Ang tawag naman doon, presidente natin ngayon, Taganara, intellectual masturbation naman yung tawag. No? Sabihin, dapat regular natin ginagawa may issue o wala, no? Konti o marami. Dapat may regular tayong palitan, no, ng kaisipan, no? Kumbaga, ang mahalaga kasi meron tayong palusog ng palitan, no, ng ideya, no? So para hindi ito pumatay, dapat occasional may 2000 ang dami na. No? At alam na natin. Inatrasan ko yan eh. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, hanggang yung 1953, yung meron nun eh. Nanalo si Ramon Magsaysay. No? Lumok daw ng 10 years, 1963, pinatay si John F. Kennedy. No? 1973, inaprubahan ang 1973 constitutions kung makagitan magtaas ng kamay. Ganon. And then, of course, 1983, no? Ninoy Aquino. Doon sinilang ang PAL. So, 40 years na kami ngayon, kasama ang SSP, ang CS, mismo. No? So, 40 years din ago, no, nasa bahay kami ni Fidel, no? Hindi kasama si Fidel. Nandun si Professor Tate, nakita ko yan. Nagmalago ko rin. It was 40 years ago. Sa Mabini, na natatandaan. No? So, yun yung mga nangyari. 2003, 2003, na-elect ang isang artista na gobernador ng California. At, siyempre, yung 1993 pala, naisipan natin, ito yung Irene Sarmenta, yung LPR. At dito rin inuwi si Marcos at Philippines sa Bataan. It was 19. Siyempre, yung 2013, Yolanda yun. So, at ngayon, 2013, ano ang nangyari? So, sabihin nila kung ano ang nangyari. So, importante ang mga balikan din ang nakaraan, access, at maghanda kung anong pwede natin gawin o paraan para maibalik kolektibo natin pag-iisa, no? Sa iba't ibang issue, kaugnay ng estudyante, guro, ng mga manggagawa, at sa lipunan Pilipino. So kaya sa umagang ito, sa papakinggan natin, liwanag, iba pang mga pagtatangka para hindi na maulit, no, ang mga naganap real na kainitan ng Dahil mababasa ito ng future generation, ano ang nagawa natin para hindi pa naman huli ang kahit maibalik, no? Para sa higit na ginhawa at layan o interest ng so magandang umaga at welcome dito sa Amazing Arts. So, hanggang sa lang.
Maraming salamat po sa ating nais din natin kilalanin ngayong umaga. Chair ng Department of Studies, Professor Sophia Lido. Salamat. So, ako nagpapakita ay si Dr. Carlos Abel, Professor Emeritus ng University of the Philippines. Siya po ay Professor of Asian Studies sa UP Diliman at nag-retiro noong 2015 at nagtuturo pa rin bilang professorial lecturer natin. Siya rin ay convener ng Program on Alternative Development, the University of the Philippines Center for Integrative and Development Studies. Yes. Mapalad po na kasama natin siya ngayon.
Salamat. Diba? Speech by disciple speech. Deliver it. The University of the Philippines is under siege and assault from trapo politics and transactional force trade. April 3, 2023, you remember, it's a day of infamy and shame the University of the Philippines delivered. The Board of Regents, the majority vote, chose a candidate with less than exemplary scholarly academic credentials and minimal administrative experience over one who has achieved the highest academic recognition, possessed the tried and tested record, and who had successfully and courageously steered UP over 3 years of a debilitating pandemic. The BOR's decision to find the canons of merit-based indicators and the publicly known overwhelming sentiments of those of the UP argument. The BOR also disregarded the findings and recommendations of the very own search committee it had formed, making the whole search process of democratic consultations a farce and an interest exercise, not meant to be taken seriously. In doing so, the BOR made light of the efforts of faculty members, students, and staff who made time to express their sentiments and choices before the search committee. We understand that almost 90% of those interviewed by the search committee clearly favor the one candidate that the board rejected. The BOR decision also calls into question the leadership and moral authority of the majority of its members. It further illustrates the dominance of traditional politics, transactional horse trading, and wheeling and dealing, the university's highest decision-making body. More than this, the BOR decision also shows a total disregard and contempt of the publicly known collective wishes and aspirations of the academic community. And in doing so, the BOR has abandoned the time-honored traditions and principles of UP or any institution of higher learning, democratic governance, accountability, transparency, academic excellence, collegiality, and leadership legitimacy. The laws of the country are clear with respect to the principles and standards that public officials, like those who oppose the Board of Regents, are to follow. The UP Charter of 2007, also known as the Republic Act 9500, states that among its purposes are to provide democratic governance to the university based on collegiality, representation, accountability, accountability, transparency, and active participation of the students, and promote the holding forum for students, faculty, research, extension, and professional staff. Then we also have Republic Act 6713 of 1989, which is the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. It states in Section 4, under norms of conduct of public officials and employees, must be responsive to the public and be committed to democracy, and I quote, public officials and employees shall extend prompt, purchase, and adequate service to the public. To the public interest, public officials and employees shall provide information of their policies and procedures in clear and understandable language, ensure openness of information, public consultation, hearing, encourage suggestions, simplify and systematize policy, rules, and procedures. Public officials and employees shall commit themselves to the democratic way of life and values and maintain the principle of public accountability. But then, when they ask, what do these high-sounding words really mean? Are they just abstract notions that one can liberally express, but under no obligation since put into practice? To answer this question, I consulted the artificial intelligence language model, ChatGPT, which provides us with incredibly intelligent answers to these questions, what these words mean within an academic setting. Democratic governance. This refers to a system of governance in which decisions are made through a democratic process, with input from all members of the academic community. In a democratic governance system, everyone has a voice and a vote in matters that affect the institution. Accountability. This refers to the responsibility that individuals and institutions have for their actions and decisions. In an academic context, accountability is important for ensuring that research is conducted ethically, that students are treated fairly, and that institutional resources are used effectively. More important, it also means making decisions that make sense. Now, does the BOR decision make sense? Transparency. This refers to the principle of openness, clarity in communication, and decision making. In academia, transparency is important for promoting trust and accountability. This might include making institutional policies and procedures easily accessible, providing clear explanations for decisions, and this is important, disclosing conflicts of interest. Now, let me elaborate on this concept of conflict of interest. Let's say you're a member of the BOR, you belong to a fraternity or a sorority, an organization, and you are deciding on electing someone to a high position who also belongs to the same fraternity, belongs to the same sorority, belongs to the same organization. Now, that's a interest. I don't know what conflict of interest is. And if so, then that BOR member should inhibit himself or herself from voting for then transfer. That is the decent thing to do. And that's it to the Board of Regents. Academic excellence. This refers to the pursuit of high standards in scholarship, teaching, and service in an academic setting. Academic excellence is typically measured by factors such as research productivity, teaching evaluations, and institutional rankings. Collegiality. This refers to the spirit of cooperation, mutual respect, and collaboration of colleagues in an academic setting. Then we have legitimacy of leadership. This refers to the degree to which a leader is seen as having the right to lead and make decisions in the context of the institution. Legitimacy is established through a combination of factors, such as qualifications, experience, expertise, and approval of the constituents, key stakeholders, including faculty, staff, and students, and I also add members of the greater UPD demand community, including the residents of the may not necessarily be part of that team. In academia, leaders who are perceived as legitimate are more likely to create the trust and support of their colleagues and followers, and effectively promote the mission and goals of the institution. Legitimate leaders are typically seen as having the authority and responsibility to make decisions on behalf of the institution, and their decisions are more likely to be accepted and respected. Let me repeat, given the PR decision, April 3, 2023, will go down in the 119-year history of the University of the Philippines as a day of infamy, shame. With the travesty of justice and repudiation of rational decision-making that took place on this day, university governance has reached one of its lowest points ever. Furthermore, the BOR as presently constituted may have seriously damaged and compromised its credibility as a body that can make informed, impartial, and just decisions for the good of the university, its community, and the Philippines. As we shall see later, I think, this is not the first time that the BOR has exhibited such total disregard for the public interest and principles of the public. It's a matter of record, this overbearing. You've seen how academic excellence, impeccable scholarly credentials, proven and experienced governance, transparency, accountability, reality, and overwhelming community support have been abandoned. The university is indeed mourning, or should be indeed mourning. But we should not only mourn and adapt as it stands. We should also organize and resist those who would want to defame and debase the integrity and good faith of the University of the Philippines.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Eduardo Nader, para sa ito. Talumpati, kahit recycle, talagang nakakataas, balahibo pang kahit dahil ito yung nangyari sa atin mula nung mga nakaraang pagkahalal ng mga administrator ngayon ay nararamdaman natin ito. Kawalan ng demokrasya sa pamumuno ng ating pamatasan. At para ibahagi naman ang mga punto hinggil sa papel ng humanidades sa pagsusulong ng demokrasya ito, makakasama natin ng Senator tagapagsalita. Siya ang kasalukuyang direktor ng Center for International Studies ng University of the Philippines, Diliman. Dati rin nagturo at kasalukuyan ng turo ng curso sa Departamento ng Physical Tagaligas. Dati na rin siya nagsilbi sa pamantasan sa demokratikong paraan bilang dating faculty regent at nagsilbi din bilang pangulo ng All Philippine Academic Employees. Siya rin ang kasalukuyang bahagi ng Alliance of Concerned Teachers na kasama po natin si Dr. Ramon Gideon.
Magandang umaga sa ating mga guro, mag-aaral at mga kawaling na narito ngayon at magandang umaga rin sa ating mga nanonood online sa ating forum. Napagitan din po na medyo may angulo doon ng humanidades. Maaari siguro si Professor Nick na lang, no? Ito'y medyo nalaman doon sa mga kasaysayan din ng mga karagay, partikular na ugnay ng mga search process sa ating universidad. At sa pangkalahatan, mas malawak, demokratiko pamamalakad ng pamantasan. Ang ipresento ay nanggaling mula sa isang dati ng nagsulat na pag-aaral tungkol sa kasaysayan ng mga search processes at mga pagbabago dito sa ating pamantasan. Yung picture na ito na dito sa ating ay isa sa mga pinakamalaking park ever na nakita ko, di ba? Nakalagay yan sa Quezon Hall noong 2019. Yan, we protest, uphold the integrity of the search process, defend the institutional autonomy of the demand. That isn't so long ago, di ba? Na nagkaroon ng maraming mga kilos ang UP Diliman, UP system, para higit ang mas demokratiko na pamantasan. Defend the institutional autonomy of the particular ng panahon na yun ay naisabi ng ano na tila ay iba yung mga naging paraan at pamantayan sa pagkikinig sa kanila. Mapapakita natin dito yung Pirata School of Business. No? Kumbaga, dahil sa desisyon na yun ng mali, no? Sa aking palagay ng desisyon ng POR, ay napilayan sa matagal na panahon sa ilang mga kapatid. Tapos nandun din yung college theory na nagkaroon din ng mga controversial na batayan doon sa kanilang utang. At pati sa National College of Public Administration and Governance. Kaya noon nagkaroon ng malawakan na diskontento at tumilos ang marami sa ating guro, mag-aaral, mga sulong pagtanggol mamalakas. Nasaan kaya tayo ngayon? Kung meron tayo mga Manila. So gusto ko lang balikan yung sa statement mula ng University Council noong September 2019. So you can see, kahit anong panahon na yun, lalabas na ng mga pakayag ang ating University Council. Actually, meron tayong meeting, darating ng 15, At doon usapan natin ang isang pakayag mali mula sa University Council. Pero tingnan ninyo itong pakayag natin September 2019. Sabi rito, the University Council is alarmed by recent actions and decisions by the UP President and the BOR, which seem to demonstrate an evaluation of disregard for the dynamics of the search processes, particularly the work of evaluation performed by search committees and the Chancellor's recommendation for new dealings. Matindi yung message dito. Sabi na, by devaluing or disregarding the evaluation of academic peers, in the search for their own academic leaders, the UP President and BOR undermine the efforts of a constituent unit in so the University Council calls on the UP President and the BOR to recognize the role of Dean as academic leader first and foremost to respect, defend, and uphold the reflection of the emanating from the collegial participating faculty processes of constituent units of the university. Here, ang mga tatalakayin mo ay may kinalaman sa search processes for team. Pero sa tingin ko, ito ay mas may malawak din na posisyon. Kumbaga, sa iba pang mga posisyon ng ating pamantasan. Kasama na din Chancellor, search processes, Chancellor, because we're thinking na ang mga academic leaders natin na dumadaan sa mga search process niya ay kinakailangan din mayroong mga principles na pinagpapatayan tulad ng mga at dito, balikan natin ang kasaysayan ng konti, ng mabilisan. Ano ba yung kalagayan ng 1961? So, sa ating revised code of the University of the Philippines ng 1961. Noon, ayon na sa mismong dokumento ng UR, for a long time, hindi nila pagkakasulat. The board unilaterally exercised authority with or without formal consultation. The university constitution was the last sector to be formally involved. So tingnan nyo noong panahon na ito ay walang kahit anong demokratikong katangian at pagpili. Sabi nga nito, it was a relatively simple political culture. The president simply appointed the person he thought could fulfill that kind of duty in the university. Pero yun nga ay hindi para sa atin, na naghahangat ng hindi na democratic code na pamamalakad ng ating institusyon ay hindi isang ideya na bagay. At tanggap din naman yan. Kaya nagkaroon ng mga pagbabago. Yung isa sa mga malaking pagbabago ay yung panahon nga ni President Corpus. Ironically, panahon ng martial law. In the depths of martial law, 1975 to 1979. Tingnan natin dito, nagkaroon ng reorganization of the College of Arts and Sciences. Lalo natin yung CAS dati, yung parang giant college, no? Natin yung mga CS, CSSB, CAL, no? And look, they make a policy recommendation, no, which was implemented. Departmental faculty of the CIS shall nominate, together with the academic, non-teaching, and administrative personnel. Kailangan ko dito, no? Together with academic, non-teaching, and administrative personnel. No, dahil usually nakakalimutan minsan, no, sa mga usapin ng demokratikong usapin ng mga ito, 3 regular faculty members of the deanship of the college. Only the names of the 3 regular faculty members with the resulting highest number of nominations shall be submitted to the office of the president. So noon talaga mayroong eleksyon, may nomination, may pagbibilangan ng mga boto, at yung mga pinakamataas lamang, ano, na kung nagpapakita ng tiwala, suporta, no, at pagkilala ng komunidad ang iaangat para pagpilian ng president. Pagpipilian pa rin, ano, nandun pa rin ang BOR, pero sa katunayan ay nakabantay yung basic idea doon sa usapin nga ng suporta mula din sa komunidad. Nagbago ang ganitong proseso. Implement yun sa katunayan, yung napaka-demokratikong pamamaraan nun. Pero noong panahon ni Angara, 1981, dito unang marinig ang usapin ng search committees. No? Dito unang nilitaw. At kung search committees ang pag-uusapan, ang importante dyan ay yung criteria. Right? If you're a search committee, then you have to figure out what is our criteria, what are our criteria for, you know, selecting or giving points, for example, or looking at the pros and cons of the candidates for a particular position. So these criteria are evolving, but they began with this. The search committee shall take into account the following criteria. Letter A, academic and administrative leadership. Ito ang number 1. Ano? Kinikilala ang academic leadership, hindi lang number 1. Ibig sabihin nito, ano ba yan? Yung pagkilala ng komunidad na akademiko doon sa kakayahan, kagalingan, yung ibig sabihin ito, kinikilala siya. May respeto ng kanyang sarili. Letter B, integrity, proven record of accomplishment, recognition. Letter C, availability, discharge of functions. Ang simple lang yan, no? Pero naunguna, dati pa, yung academic and administrative leadership. Ngayon, kahit nag-shift from the directly democratic process to search committees, meron naman sinabi si Anggaran. I think we should, take seriously, no? Sabi ni Anggaran, no organization can meaningfully attain any present objective unless the people in it are involved in planning. And this should be even more so than in the case of schools, where collegial decision-making is essential. If the faculty is left out in the definition of institutional targets, then the school administration should not logically expect faculty cooperation. Kaya kanina, dito lumilitaw ang collegial decision-making. Collegial decision-making na napagitan na ni Professor Tader, binigyan niya ng paliwanag, at definition, na ito ay yung pinakabuod, pinakasentral na aspekto ng pagdedesisyon natin sa ating universidad mula sa departamento hanggang sa kolegyo, hanggang sa University Council. We believe in collegial decision making. Now, this guides us in making our decisions. Kaya, bilang isang akademiko, unawaan nito ni Angara, we have to be collegial. If you don't make collegial decisions, then these lack legitimacy in an academic context. Ang sabi nga niya doon sa isang bahagi pa dito, yung mga administrador sa tingin natin, yung mga teacher, parang subordinates natin. Kaya tinatrack lang din sila subordinates. Pero they will not accept. Teachers are not just subordinates. Sabi ni Angara, they will not accept. No? So, kailangan talaga maunawaan ito ng mga namumuno sa mga akademikong institusyon. Ngayon, punta tayo sa isa pang parang development. No? At ito ay naalala siguro ng ilang sa atin, kaugnay ng isang kontrobersyal na pag-iling ng dekano sa College of Law noong panahon ni President Dodong Demenso. No? Kaya nagkaroon ng halabaluko po dito dahil yung College of Law ay nagkaroon ng straw vote. No? And particular candidate got very high votes there, but the VOR chose someone else. to be the dean of the college of law. So this was really something controversial, went through a search process. And sabi ni President Benson, some faculty members of the College of Law were protesting the appointment of Dean Raul Malangan. Thus, they were requesting, number one, the release of documents upon which the board based its decision. Number two, a chance to air their views before the board of leaders. Ano yan, dalawa na yan, Christine, ano? Yung una, ano yung mga pinagbatayan ninyo ng inyong mga diskusyon? Ano yung mga criteria na ginamit mo? Please explain to us, no, what were the criteria you used in selecting? Number two, can we have some kind of discussion about this? So, ito ay isang napakagandang president sa ating university. What they did was, the UP president himself went to the university council. No? Kasama niya ang ating faculty regent, si Randy David, and they tried to explain their role according to the principles of the university. So sabi nga ni Dodong, hoping to clear things up and recapture our sense of community, President Menendez delivered a speech to the University Council to personally defend the POR selection pangalaman for the leadership. So dito, sabi niya, okay, maaaring may pagkakaiba tayo dito, pero ang pinaka-basis namin sa pagpili, sa aming napili, ay yung academic credentials. We were starting on the idea of academic leadership, right? So we may agree or disagree on this, pero malinaw na, kumbaga, bumaba sila. At pinaliwanag nila yung kanilang criteria, nilabas nila yung kanilang mga datos, yung mga batayan, tapos yun ang kanilang hinarap sa University Council. This is something I think that we are sorry lacking at the moment. Even when we were asking for this, at the time that there were some questionable selections for these in 2019, nothing happened. We were requesting this. Nakita nyo naman doon sa UC statement, right? We were also requesting the same thing, the criteria and to have the face us. Walang nangyari doon. Pero dito, I think this is important. The acting leaders should consider themselves part of our community who can converse with us. Ngayon, dahil sa mga nangyari na yan, nagbuo ng campus-wide academic management conference in 2004. Dahil nga sa mga, this proposal was a response to the mounting criticisms on the process currently being followed in the search processes. So, ito ay binuo at naglunsad ang dilibat ng ganitong klaseng academic management conference. And they had a proposal. Ano yung proposal nila for search process? Letter A search process managed by the college. The chancellor shall not constitute the search committee. Instead, the college will manage the process. It will identify nominees following a procedure acceptable to its constituents. The chancellor chooses from among the nominees and submits her recommendation to the president and the board. So makita nyo rito na hindi lang yung mga usapin ng pag-nominate ang hawak ng college, pati yung proseso ng pag-nominate, sila rin ang mag-decide. At letter B, isa pang option which the college can choose. No search process is conducted. However, a college may submit the name of a nominee unanimously agreed upon by the fact. That's something like the democratic process earlier. Kaya lang, makita ng unanimous, masyadong posibilidad yan para sa mga malalaking mga kolenyo. Well, let's look at the College of Engineering, for example. I mean, it's hard to expect a unanimous candidate from such a gigantic college. Kaya for small colleges, siguro, pwede may unanimous, pero parang hindi ito manageable for larger units like CAP, for example. These two alternatives adhere the principle of self-determination. It is sinabi ng campus-wide management conference. Since the colleges are allowed to determine for themselves who the nominee should be, also the process, right? The UP demand proposal was approved by the PO. This was approved by the PO. So, kasi ninyo, yung ating mga pinag-uusapan na posibleng mas democratic yung mga pamamaraan ay pwede talaga maging bahagi ng mga proseso ng ating pamamaraan. Nothing in principle prevents these kinds of recommendations from being part of our policy and guidelines. Yan. Yan po tayo kay Ever naman, from 2005 to 2011. Sipin lang po kay Ever, President Romano, naglabas siya ng proposed policy and guidelines for the selection of these. Well, in response also to the various questions once again that were arising Pero dito makita niyo kung ano yung pagpapahalaga sa dean and also academic leader. No? And I proposed din that chancellors should also be academic leaders. Yun yung aking palagay dito. Among the academic positions at the university, the most crucial one is that of the dean. The dean is first and foremost an academic leader. Thus, it is expected that all members of the faculty and the academic staff get involved in the process of selecting deans. So, una ay binigyan na kailangan academic leader ang mapipili. Dalawa, kailangan demokratiko ang proseso. Kinakailangan ang lahat ay maaaring bumako doon sa proseso ng pagpipili. Ngayon, patuloy pa rin na naging mga problema. Kung pagpasok natin kay Pascual, President Pascual, yung dati nating faculty regent, did a good job. Si faculty regent Nida Dalmasio from UPLB. She went around various CUs and asked them, what are your main problems in your cities? Ngayon, one thing that you noticed was, one of the main issues which arose consistently was the question of search process. So, sabi nga niya, ito yung kanyang report. I-report ito sa viewer. Some are indifferent on the selection process. Why go through the process when the appointing authority already has somebody in mind? Parang narinig ko rin na. There was a sense that there could be a more democratic way of selecting deans and directors. There was a request to review the selection process for deans and directors. The present process has become very political. Faculty members have the impression that the search committee is biased because the members are appointed by the chancellor. The real sentiment, probably on a system-wide level, was to review the selection process for deans and directors. So I think magandang basis for looking at possible revisions for all other search processes in our academic context. So, nagbuo ng committee ang DOR to look for recommendations to change or revise or reform the search process. What is the result? Ang pangalan ng committee ay review the policies and guidelines on the selection and appointment of deans. Pinamunuan nito ni College of Law Professor Patricia Taway. I think he's retired already, She presented this to the DOR. So they had a result. They have two alternatives. At yung kanina, yung kanina ay may college manager process, tapos ikalawa ay merong voting, pero kailangan unanimous, right? Yeah, two alternatives. One, a college manager process wherein a single nominee will be submitted to the chancellor provided that he or she has the support of at least 2/3 of the faculty members. So, problema ito faculty members you see that it's nawawala yung at least administrative personnel, nawawala na academic research personnel natin, di ba? Academic research personnel natin ay nawawala dito. Pero they did 2/3 instead of unanimous, which I think was more viable. Kanina unanimous, parang posible, di ba? Pero 2/3, kapag nakuha yung 2/3 vote, yun ay pangalan niya. Wala na tanong-tanong, yun ay pipiliin ng DOR. Number two, on the other hand, the college would constitute a search committee which would submit a list of rank nominees to the chancellor with a justification for the ranking included. So there's a lot of leeway on the part of the college when we need to think of their justification, of their criteria, and the ranking of their candidates. The chancellor would then have the prerogative to recommend a nominee to the president. And the chancellor and president have informed the college about his or her request and the justification thereof. So dito, makikita na mahalaga ang justification. Kapag magpumili ang presidente ng kanyang tatalaga bilang dekano, kailangan hindi lang yung pangalan ng kanyang napili, pati yung justification. Ano ang mga patayan na ginamit ko sa pagpili ng partikular na kandidato na ito. Kaya ano nangyari dito sa, the committee, I think this is a very good committee, sabi nila. The committee underscored the principle of self-determination of the college. Dito ay yung mahalaga yung self-determination. And the unit shall be respected and honored in the same way that the selection appointment process should adhere to the basic principle which is enshrined in the university charter. Na binasa kami na ni Professor Tadeb, yung basic principles. Ang problema ay though there were good proposals in the DAWA committee, effort, no? They didn't act on it. You are didn't act on it. Binabayan na sa mga CU, pero wala nang nabalitaan. Pagkatapos doon. Like many other things, I think which happened during the Pascual administration. It's proposed, no? But we were part of a committee also to this, to the, make proposals for admissions policies, Pinagirapan namin yun, ayun na buwan, nothing happened about that. Proposal. So may mga nangyari talaga, ganyan, no? So, ano na yung, balikan natin ngayon yung mga ilang, yung sinasabing principle enshrined in the University Charter na pinagbatayan ng DAWA Agreement. Ito, yung kanina na, no? Ayon nga sa UP Charter, RA 9500, Section 2H, the university should provide democratic governance in the university based on, ito yung number one sa lahat, collegiality, representation, accountability, transparency, and active participation of its constituents. Ito, no, para makita lang natin na hindi imposible ang mga maaari nating maihakag ng mga reforma sa proseso. Tingnan niyo yung nakalagay lang sa RA 9500. Kaugnay ng pagpili ng Chancellor at pagpili ng Dean, Section 18 and Section 19. Doon sa pagpili ng Chancellor, nakalagay dito, the Chancellor of the Continuing University shall be elected by the board, well, look at the process, upon nomination of the President of the University. So in the nomination document, there should be an explicit nomination by the President in the board. Sino ang kanyang inirekomenda? Following a process of consultation with the constituents of the constituent university based on standards and guidelines set by the board. So you see, already based on guidelines and standards set by the board. Ibig sabihin, napaka-flexible, na pwedeng mga based na mga standards, ng mga guidelines. That's why it was possible for committees noong panahon ng 70s, 80s, 90s to propose more democratic forms of selection na naaprubahan pa nga ng POR, yung CAS proposal dahil. So, hindi naman sa dean, no? The dean shall be elected by the board upon nomination of the president of the university and recommendation of the chancellor of the constituent university following the consultation based on standards and guidelines set by the board. So, napaka-flexible ng RA 9500 to allow, actually, based on its own principles, more democratic governance, more collegial processes, no? And greater representation, accountability, transparency, and participation. Yan. And yung isang tanong, no, yung transparency thing, no? Sabi dito, no? Kano ba ka-transparent? Dahil nga yung ating laging panawagan ay hindi ka punta kayo dito at paliwanag yung basis. And so far, no one wants to talk to us from the board of regents, no? Ngayon, ang isang question ng ating mga faculty, meron ba tayong mababasa sa minutes of the BOR about this, about their decisions? We can't pick anything from the minutes for the BOR Gazette. No, dahil ang lahat, virtually all processes of selection of our deans and chancellors are now under executive session. What does it mean to have executive session? Pagka nag-meeting ng BORs, discuss natin kung sino magiging dean ito o dean na. And di, palabasin lahat ng mga staff, papalabasin lahat, BOR na patitira, at sila lang mag-uusap-usap. There will be no records, no documentation, and everything is behind closed doors. In fact, you can't even divulge what happened if you were part of this meeting, because it is under executive session. Again, from the point of view of transparency and accountability of the university, I think that's very strange. And it's just selective officials, it's not really national security or anything like that. So, tingnan niyo yung nangyari ito panahon ni President, at least when I was in the BOR, no? Ito yung mga frequency of executive sessions invoked in the appointment of UP chancellors. Pakita nyo, early in our history, hindi ganong madalas ang pagpapatawag ng mga executive session. Pero there was a big spike ng panahon ni Concepcion. In fact, it became a standard process. Itong each meeting na yan, halimbawa, 6 meetings na itong executive session. Maraming chancellors yan, at maraming mga deans na pinag-uusapan in one meeting, right? In one executive session. Kaya, ngayon, yung spike na yan, kalahati pa lamang yan ang kanya. Kumbaga, when I was there. But, so that spike should be much higher, after his term. And should show a very great difference from other administrators. Hinatid na halimbawa, dito naman, yung maliit na table 1 dyan, pinapakita niya yung iba't ibang mga chancellor na hindi naman executive session. UP Mindanao Chancellor, UP Open University Chancellor, UP Baguio Chancellor, mga deans, etc. Through history of the university, they didn't feel any need to invoke executive sessions to select deans and chancellors. Why all of a sudden, it should be that it became the standard. Hindi niya pa example na ito, 2011 ito. Pagpipilian ng dean si Danny Concepcion bilang Dean ng College of Law at saka si Jose Maria Balmaceda bilang College of Science. You see there's an asterisk here after Danny Concepcion. That means that's what asterisk taken up in executive session. Very selective. Kung tayo sabihin, okay, hindi naman lahat ay executive session natin. Yung kay Dean Joey, huwag na natin executive session yan. Pero yung kay Danny Con, the executive session for various reasons, I don't know. Pero selective, hindi yung basta selection ko mag-executive session lang. Diba? So, yan yung isang hinaling namin noon. Dapat hindi nag-executive session. In fact, kung botohan, dapat hindi secret balloting. Dapat talaga open balloting. Para magkaroon ng basis yung ating hinihingi na what were your justifications? Why did you vote this way or that way? It's just taking responsibility for your vote. It's just being accountable and making sure that people understand your vote. And if it was done with good reason, then you should be able to explain. Ngayon, isa pang development ay yung although rare na nangyari ito, pero nung panahon ni Danny Con, yung President Concepcion, lumabas ang mga redacted pages ng UP Gazette. I mean, kung tumingin kayo sa mga declassified documents ng Central Intelligence Agency, ito yung ganyan itsura. Pero ito ay UP document, the redaction of UP documents. I'm not against, maybe it was busy, there was really a reason for redacting this. Pero it can become indiscriminate. They can possibly withhold information from us without any explanation, with arbitrary reasons. Basta maglalabas, hindi pala dapat malabas ko, so they will just redact everything. Yung boto yung pagboto natin doon sa isang team, 6-4, ay lumabas, i-redact natin. So kita nyo, redaction of the minutes of the BOR can become arbitrary and indiscriminate. And also it can make us worry about information being withheld from us as a community. Yan, hindi ko lang alam bakit itong nakaraan ay nagiging ganyan yung mga proseso ng ating natin. Panghuli na lamang, this is the last point I wish to make, na naging malaking usapin noon, bakit kapag ngayon, kapag pipili ng dean o ng mga chancellor, madalas pinapatawag ng BOR ang mga nominees para magpaliwanag sa harap. Hindi yan dati ginagawa. Yan ay ginagawa ng mga HR, yung mga nag-hire na gusto nilang i-hire. Diba? Why is the BOR taking up this role? Meron ka namang search committee. At yung search committee, malalim yan. Ang kanyang pagkaunawa doon sa komunidad. The BOR could never understand what is happening in those individual departments, with those individuals, with those people at that level. And the search committee is asked to do that. Ikalawa, tawag dito, kapag nagpapatawag ang BOR ng mga tao sa kanila para nagiging parang job interview where they can ask favors from those who are running. Diba sabihin, ikaw, tumatakbo ka din, gawin mo ito Sino bang gagawa nito? Ikaw, gagawin mo ito? Sabihin ko isang hindi ko gagawin yan. Sabihin isa, ay gagawin ko yan. Oh sir, gagawin ko yan. Di siya yung pipiliin. It generates a paternalistic relationship between the BOR and the teams and the chancellors that they will choose, right? Because they virtually become, the hiring committee. Meron namang mga public fora, before election of these officials, and in these public fora, the BOR is expected to participate and listen, and most importantly, to see how the community interacts with the community, right? That is most important.
Kung hindi nila ginagawa yun, then there's a problem. That they should be part of the search, they should be part of this forum and not have a forum for themselves, no. Which is, yun nga, suspicious. Dahil, alam niyo yung mga interviews na yan, nakagawin yan, hindi na recorded ang mga yan, interviews with the candidates. So they can make commitments, right? That are, for example, that we're not part of any kind of discussion or dialogue with the community. So, ayun, marami na protesta kung sa ganyan, mga interviews niya. But now, it's become some kind of unquestioned activity by the viewer. There's a lot of backsliding here that's happened. No, I think a lot of repeat that's happened in terms of what we are, in terms of democratic governance and processes in our university. Kaya kung may mga backsliding na ganyan, may pag-address tayo, I think we should make an effort, no, at this point to sort of push back, no? Sort of regain, what the dignity of our collegial democratic processes in our university. At yun lang naman, no? At yun lang, sorry, napapagal medyo may kasaysayan na ito. But sana ngayon ay muli tayo sa ating susunod na
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Guillermo. Napalalim ang ating pag-unawa sa kasaysayan pagkakait ng democratic governance sa ating universidad. No? Pero ito rin, kasaysayan na ito siguro ang magtatanglaw at gagabay sa ating pagkakas kahit anong, as always, kahit anong struggle, diba, magagamit natin ang ating ang mahabang kasaysayan na ito para gumawa ng bagong landas dun sa pagbuwag ng sinabi ni Dr. Taden na malakakong kultura ng pamunuan sa Pilipinas. Ang susunod naman natin tagapagsalita ay ang ating kalungkasa sa Shakespeare Studies sa universidad at syempre sa buong bansa. At bukod sa pagiging mananaliksik at scholar, siya rin ay aktor at dramaturge na may mahalagang kontribusyon sa kayaan sa Pilipinas at kasalukuyan po chairperson ng Department of English and Comparative Literature. Palakpakan po natin si Dr. Lily Siluni.
Hello. Hello. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for this invitation to speak, become an accidental speaker at this forum. When I was asked, I was initially asked to be the actor and to comment, and I said, "Oh, not sure." Then when I saw the poster, speaker na pala, magic. And also I was told to speak about the topic, so I did. I welcome this chance to be pinipiling humanities for this moment. How can the humanities contribute to democratic governance? That was a question given to me when I was told that I was to be a speaker at this forum. I take issue with the verb contribute. I'd like to suggest that the arts and humanities do way more than contribute to democracy. They are, in fact, its lifeblood. Let me then reframe the question by asking, how can there be democratic governance without the humanities? I think that's a better way to phrase things. Let me explain why. Democracy is predicated on at least three concepts that I have decided to identify as one, space, two, voice, and three, participation. I'll talk about space first. We often speak of democratic spaces, which I understand to mean spaces or places, both literal and figurative, that allow us the freedom of thought and expression. Democracy is predicated on creating these spaces where there is freedom to think, to imagine, and to create without danger of censure. To ensure that these spaces remain open and capacious entails expansive thinking, wide-ranging imaginations. To these, the humanities provide very good training. In my own experience as a teacher and student of literature, for example, I can speak of how reading novels, plays, poetry over the years has opened me up to so many different times and places and cultivated my imagination. It's wild, I admit, but mostly because I've read a lot of very wild things. More importantly, reading literature also taught me empathy. the ability to put oneself in the shoes of others so radically different from oneself. Stories and the identification that narratives invite have the power to do that like no other form of writing. More so in theater, where empathy is taken to a whole new level of meaning, where one is made to, if one is an actor like I am, inhabit the life of another, even if only for the duration of the play. Ibang level ng empathy yun, grabe. The humanities trains us to live many lives and to have many eyes, to go beyond our known worlds and our everydays, to live in other worlds and other everydays. How crucial is that then for creating democratic space? How wide does the world become when we accommodate these imagined possibles? Second, voice. Looking to the roots of humanities education in the classical world, it does us good to remember that the liberal arts, typically what has come to be known as the trivium of rhetoric, grammar, and logic dialectic, at its core, came to the fore with the rise of democracy as a form of government in the Greek city-states. In its more modern sense, we understand democracy as the practice of giving and valuing a variety of voices within communities. In the humanities, we trade in language and rhetoric. We train ourselves in analysis and persuasion through linguistic and sometimes even extra-linguistic means. We train our students in skilled and cultivated communication, whether oral or written, in a variety of languages. Finding a voice can also entail communication in alternative grammars of image, as in the visual arts and cinema, form and movement, as in dance, and tones and rhythms, as in music. In the humanities, we have many rhetorics and grammars. Sometimes finding a voice can also mean harnessing the narrative imagination, understanding and wielding the power of telling a story. Again, this is something that is taught in the humanities. And storytelling, we now painfully know, holds powers over democracies. Anyone who lived through the elections a year ago, May 9 ngayon, so I bring this up, is acutely aware of how the myth of the golden age and Talyano gold trumped the tired old tale of a virtuous widow. If we were told, if only we told and sold better stories. Third is participation. Democracy is also predicated on the participation of constituencies after what we respectfully assume is a considered decision of individuals who take part in various forms of decision making. In the best of cases, these decisions are arrived at after a long process of critical thinking. Often the process also involves debate and critical dialogue among opposing sides to raise and answer questions around relevant issues. Again, the humanities prepare us well for this by honing our questioning skills and our abilities to think critically about a host of issues. Beyond imagination, empathy, narrative acuity, communication skills, the humanities also teaches critical thought. Socratic pedagogy is at the heart of the humanities. We learn by asking questions, questions for which very often there are no singular answers. And this may very well be why I was turned off by math from a very early age. No, isang tamang sagot ang bagay. And there may have been no people more skillful at posing questions than artists. Much great art is radical because artists have always been the interrogators of society and its norms. They asked hard questions that demanded a reevaluation of the ways in which we see the world. They moved conversations forward, forcing us to think beyond our comfort zones. I've always believed that art does not provide answers. Its greater role is to provoke questions. And in the humanities, we revel in those questions. They make us critical thinkers. I've been speaking thus far in very general and well-known ways in which the humanities relate to democratic governance, but I'd also like to say a few things about the title of this forum. Let me address the topic in the form of the question: what is the role of the humanities in democratic governance in the university? Well, I know what my role is. It's a role I've been playing in my 38 years as a faculty member and artist in this university. My role is to question, to challenge, to disturb, to think and think critically, to teach my students how to think critically by asking them to question everything, including themselves, and to raise questions about their questions. I always tell my students, the reason I sit where I sit in the classroom and they sit where they sit is not because I have the answers. In fact, I sit where I sit because I have more questions than they do. And when they come to answers, I also teach my students to revise, to adapt, to acknowledge flaws, and not settle on anything for too long, to account for ideas that disturb their conclusions. Not to rest on laurels, to move on to greater challenges. Or in the words of Tennyson, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. We in the humanities are acutely aware of the responsibilities and burdens that come with the arts and we study and practice. The question is, does the university? I'm not, wait lang, suspense. The question is, does the university? I am not inclined to believe so, because for the greater majority of its constituents, or maybe just its administrators, the arts are often seen as decorative afterthoughts. Music and dance are treated as intermission numbers for programs. Visual arts are decorations for offices and buildings. And my personal pet peeve, English or Filipino teachers, are treated as technical writers or editors by administrators who only see us as speechwriters or glorified grammarists. When administrators look to the chief courses, in which the humanities play a central role, as a chance to, and I quote, maging creative, mag-relax, at mag-enjoy ng buhay, close quote, we're in real trouble. Perhaps what is needed is a reconsideration of the humanities in university life and a deep understanding of the role it plays in democratic governance. Perhaps many need to return to humanities classes or take more of them to learn narrative imagination, storytelling, cultivated communication, critical thinking, empathy, and all these wonderful things that humanities teaches us so well. Most of all, the university, specifically this administration, needs to understand the value of questions. Questions are really invitations to critical dialogue. Critical dialogue is the best path to democratic consensus. Questions demand answers. And when met by stony silence, then democracy in this university will just as well be dead. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Judy, sa napakakakinet na pagpapaliwanag doon sa halaga. Pinahalaga yun, no? Pero kung paano ang humanidades ay isa sa mga pundasyon ng demokratikong pamumuno sa ating pamatasan. At sa puntong ito, tiyak kami ni Professor Tito na busog na tayo sa mga ideya mula sa mga naging bahayag na ating tanong tagapagsalita. Tutungo naman na tayo doon sa ating mga reaksyon mula rin sa iba't iba pang stakeholders ng ating pamatasan. Una na po ito, ang isang guro ulit na magbibigay ng isang maikling reaksyon tungkol sa mga sinabi ng ating mga tagapagsalita. Kasama po natin si Dr. Grace Concepcion mula sa Department of English Comparative Literature at isa lang po yung Pangulo ng All-Aid Academic Employees. Nagpaka po natin siya.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Am I audible? Can I be heard? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So much has been said regarding democratic governance, regarding what has transpired in the meeting, and also the history of governance in the university, particularly in the selection of deans and chancellors, and then also the importance of the humanities in promoting democratic governance. Now, I'm going to speak on how the All-UP Academic Employees Union would regard democratic governance, and it has much to do with the interests of the stakeholders. And namely, these are the students, the employees, both academic and non-academic, the contractual employees in the university, and also those who reside within the UP community and are considered part of the UP community. So now, here we have 3 keywords, particularly transparency, accountability, and participation. So what does this mean for the All UP Academic Employees Union? So transparency for us means being open to stakeholders of the university and the right to have information on policies, financial information on, and also information on hiring and appointment. And such information would benefit stakeholders such as students, academic and non-academic employees, contractual employees, and members of the community, particularly since this would govern or this would have an impact in the everyday economic lives of the constituents of the university. Accountability for us means that officials should take responsibility for their decisions and actions, especially if it affects the community. In others, kailangan managot, okay, ang mga nanunungkulan sa mga stakeholders ng university. Participation means to have the freedom and power to decide on the welfare and the interests. So the sectors of the university should have and should assert this freedom and power to decide on the welfare and interests, particularly since it affects the sectors of the university. And part of this is to choose leaders who would govern the university. Now, why is democratic governance important? It is important to forward the interests and rights of the sectors for just wages, security of tenure, and promotion, and other benefits. To fight for benefits also for health and wellness, education, housing, retirement benefits, and others, to recognize that sentiments and demands of the UP community in the face of red tagging and political harassment, to fight for academic freedom, to assert for consultations and information dissemination, and to avoid arbitrary rules and policy, and to raise the morale of the constituents, and to have the empowering consciousness to change conditions that negatively affect the constituents of the university, and also to fight against contractualization. So we are now in this critical conjuncture, and hence, what are the implications of the lack of democratic governance to the crisis, not only in leadership, but in education? So for one, lack of democratic governance means that the university is in danger to become a tool of the fascist state if there is no democratic governance, especially at a time of historical revisionism, commercialization of education, and repressive measures. Hence, there's this urgent need to stress the liberative character of education and the public character of UP as well, that the University of the Philippines is the university of the people and not the University of the state. Sige naman po, maraming salamat. And thank you for the organizers of this event.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Concepcion, sa pagpapaalala sa atin sa very real effects ng kawalan ng mga mahala sa kabuhayan ng ating personnel sa universidad. Ngayon naman po, kita po sa ating ating reactor, yan yung nakabisi na sa Eduardo Pang. Nagkaroon siya ng napakahabang career sa pagtuturo sa ating universidad at sa ating kolegyo. Ngayon siya ay isang professorial lecturer sa Department of Studies. And siyempre kanya na musikero, mananaya, consummate artist si Sir Edwin. Talagang mo na yun.
Humanities or humanidades ang paksa natin. Okay? Huwag natin kalilimutan na yung humanidades na yan, 500 years ago, during the Renaissance and before that, included all studies that have to do with the human being. Kaya yung reaction ni Ed sa kanyang moment, pasok sa humanities. Kaya yung pinag-usapan ni Judy, yan ang pagkaintindi natin sa salita ng humanities. Ito isang single kalahati na mas tutok sa mga sining, kultura, filosofiya, etc. Pero maganda rin, dahil naparama ang ating pagkaintindi. Yung sinabi ni Ed ay tungkol sa pangyayari sa kasalukuyan at nagiging reaction natin at sa mga katwiran kung bakit valid ang mga reaksyon natin. Tama ang reaksyon natin. Hindi basta-basta reaksyon ko, talagang tutok at sa napag-isipan at nararamdaman. Yan kay Bowman mahalaga dahil pinakita niya sa ating kasaysayan ng prosesong ganito ng matagal na panahon na hindi basta-basta ginawa, pinag-isipan, pinag-awayan, gumawa ng mga komite, gumawa ng mga ide-ideya, question, babaguhin, hanggang sa tumating tayo kung saan tayo meron. May familiarity ako sa sinabi ni Bowman, because I don't really been search committees for a time in my 35 years of teaching. So alam ko, talagang mabusisi, sa pinakamabusisi, sinatrabaho ng faculty. Ang search committee na yan, because you want to be fair, not only to the nominees, but to the university and to the student. Parati yun isip mo, ano maging epekto sa estudyante, lalo sa estudyante. Okay. Ngayon, ang gusto ko sana may ambag, gusto ko sana sabihin na talagang doon sinabi, gusto pa yan sa sinabi ng Judy, at ang gusto ko sabihin. Pero yung mga sa pareho na nila, o almost na. Ang gusto ko naman ibahagi ay konting memorya po tungkol sa saysayan na medyo kakulit dito nangyayari ngayon. Apropo dahil kamatay lang ating dating presidente, si Noli Soriano. Sana isipin natin siya sa kanyang paglakbay sa Pilipinas. Dahil siya ang presidente, 79 to 81 years. Hindi pa namatay si Nino ito. Dito sa mga panahon na yan, ang iyong quote-unquote kaaway ay diktatorya. Pero sa panahon niya, ang presidente, hindi po yan ang sistema dito. Ang presidente at sa komunidad ay nagkakaisa. O madaling mag-usap tungkol sa kalabalas. Okay? Napakahirap din ako. Dito sa loob ng UP, ang organisasyon dito naman ang Free UP. At ang mga isyo pinag-usapan nito, internal issues sa pamantasan at sa external issues, dictators, censorship, imperialism, and all the rest. So, kung malabas ito, dahil sa pangyayari sa kasalukuyan, nandito ang komunidad at hindi nakakaintindihan kung ano nangyayari sa institusyon. Tutulong sa nangyayari sa institusyon. Nandito ang komunidad. Nandito pa ang pamahalaan. Mukhang dalawang awin, yung papamuno sa loob ng university at saka yung papamuno ng Pilipinas. Hindi natin alam kung nagkakaisang kakakutsaba yung sa mga pangyayari. Hindi natin alam. Ngunit, ito naman ang parang leksyon sa kasaysayan nito. Ang importante ay ganito, na ang pamayanan ng komunidad ay palaging nalalaman kung ano ang nangyayari. Hindi kailangan gumalaw ang lahat. Kailangan meron ka lang, kung maaari marami, pero kailangan meron ka lang critical mass na silang gagalaw. Sasabihin ko sa inyo kung sino naging member ng CUP nun. Unahin ko muna yung mga tumanap. Hihigit ng tao. Si Connie Paz, si Roger Busadas, si Tenet Maceda, at yung mga buhay pa ngayon, si Dr. Menzo, si Karina Tulibo, isa organisador. At si Randy David, si Dr. Menzo, si Princess, etc. Kasama na ng possibility. Later on, then nasa labas ng campus nasa yung nangyari siya, and then nung buntis siya dito, nakasama din siya, na naging kaakbay na talaga ito ng organisasyon na lumabas sa diktador niya direktamente. Sinasabi ko po sa sabihin kasi sa kasalukuyan, we are going through a similar process. There is an issue that is so burning that it has united the community. So that many units of the community are responding the best way they can. But as in any community, there are those who are responding lackadaisically. There are those who are saying, sangayon kami, pero there are those who are saying, hanggang dito na lang ako, ang pangit ko naman aking tuturo, o estudyante, naku, marami tayong finals, kung anong dahilan. Normal yan sa isang pamantasan mo. But the important thing is that you have a core group, a strong core group, that will be the voice of the university, because they listen to the university constituency in the first place. Hindi mo lang may susunod yan dahil gusto mo magdidinig ka rin And you won't have the confidence to talk to the people online unless you listen to the people, to the constituent staff, faculty and students. Hindi mo gagawa yan At sa mahihiya ka sa sarili mo, you claim you stand for the wala ka namang constituency talaga. No, the constituent, how? Ang inisip na kami na, ano naman constituent yung ilan? Natin hindi attitude. I've seen this before many times. Yan ang natin. Ito, yun, pabayaan na, that will pass. Hihi natin ang loob ng mga yan. Ano naman Pilipino ng Mesko? Okay? So, they would prefer to do nothing. But delay and delay and delay and delay. Sinasabi ko ito, not let them do not let them do it. The pressure of the system is possible overwhelming. To the extent that not only in terms of passing, to the extent of at one time or another, the boycott, no classes, all the more dramatic force. It may get to that, maybe not. If they listen, if they respond, it may get to that point. Yeah, parang nangyari sa Diliman Commune, 1971. Nangyari sa Diliman Commune. So, pinababig ko ito dahil yung sa ganito, iniisip natin kung anong kailangan natin. Pero isipin na natin kung anong iniisip ng kabila at kung isipin natin kung anong makakalimutan. Pero isang hindi maaaring mangyari ay makakalimutan natin at hihina ang loob natin. Kasi kung ganyan mangyayari, talo ka na. From their point of view, what can they do? Most members of the Board of Regents don't really know what's happening in the university. When was the last time a member of the Board of Regents who's not academic came down to ask college person letters what's going on? Or to go to UP Mindanao or the new constituent universities to ask what's going on? Dumarating lang naman yung sa board meeting They don't really know what's going on. We know what's going on with it. They don't. Lalabas yun yung ni Board Presidente, pupuntahan, etc. Maraming, totoo sinabi ni Bowman, maraming nangyayari dyan sa Board of Regents na hindi natin nalalaman. I'll give you one or two instances. Yung una, recent, gusto nila tayo, yung leadership ng College of Education. Nabigla naman sumumpun kami kung sino-sino galing sa labas, nabigla naman ipapasok. Before that, ito na, before that, bigla na lang ang BA naging school at Virata School. Do you know who Cesar Virata was? Cesar Virata was the Prime Minister during Marcos days when there was an assembly and the assembly was a puppet where Marcos had full veto powers. Sa loob ng University of the Philippines. University of the Philippines, kukuha ng ganyan. Balita ko yung Virata kami, kaya na ng milyon-milyon Hindi mo lang gawa ng desisyon, nandiyan na, pinangalan na. Nakatunganga ka na lang. Nakatunganga ka na lang, dahil nandiyan na. Even before that, Emil Javier, who was Minister of Science and Technology. Imagine, he was one of these ministers of Marcos, naging presidente ng Universidad ng Pilipinas. He had very little credibility among the family, at least in Pilipinas. Very little. Kaya anong ginawa niya? Wala na, pa-administer na siya. He never really discussed academic issues. Nothing. I don't even remember. I tried to attend many meetings with him. He never discussed academic issues. Mga issue na discuss na kung dapat kaya mag-tubig tayo. Na hindi dapat dahil hindi handa. Mga ganong klase, administrative issue, iniiwasan niya academic issues. Pero wala, alam niya wala pa niya, walang following. Walang ano dito sa baba. Very polite ang mga tao, nandiyan eh. Yeah. And these are just two instances. At sinabi na ni Bonnet, napakalang executive session. Hindi sabihin, sekreto. Bakit mo yung sekreto? Anong kinahihiya mo yung sekreto ng mga bagay nito na may kinalaman sa universidad at may kinalaman sa bayan? What is the point of the secrecy? Hindi naman dati ganyan na. Meron akong brad sa fraternity, naging legal counsel ng tatlong presidente, on and off. Wala naman sila ginagawa sa masyadong ganyan dati. Sa botohan. At bobotong si Juan, imbes si Pedro, hindi ko naman, katulad ng ginawa niya. Lutuman sa kanila lagi doon sa kaso ng Nahul Pagalarin. Sino kasama? O Corotilla, yun ang may gawain. This is just history. All over the place, and I'm trying to express the reputation of anybody. Sinasabi ko lang ito. Ano wala pang kahirap, hindi sila pwede sa University Council, pero i-develop ang nilang opinion. Anong kinatatakot nila? Eh kung nagawa nito doon sa kanila, Rachel, sinabi, bakit hindi nila kayang gawin? O nag-iisip pa ako ng mga hakbang. I think they don't care because they think they can't do anything anyway over the home. Exactly what should not be. I've seen this happen many times. Exactly what should not be. Because if we let them do their thing, if they let them allow to tell us English governance, these things are not a concern. Let alone COVID. Talo ko nila. And in a very real sense, talo ang bayan. Yung particular na hakbang, meron naman namumuno may senior committee mo tayo. Yun ang dapat pag-usapan. At meron din naman pinag-usapan na. Kapag natin nalilimutan, mahalaga ang kasaysayan sa mga usapin ganito. Kasi kung wala kang batas sa kasaysayan, para kayo tulad na lumalaman. Yung malalaman kung saan yung patumungan. Kung sa bayan, I'm not emphasizing names. And there are always different set of details. But the general issue is this. In the community, in this instance, the community is at odds with the administration, both the chancellor and the president. Yeah. And this community is often as at odds as it is with the national administration. And we don't know if this administration and the national administration are including each other when it comes to the university. Huwag tayong itulungan. At gamitin natin lahat ng communication devices na nasa sining na sabi niya. Ultimately, sa humanities communication, what do you communicate? You can just communicate darkness or light. Hindi neutral. Itong humanities na sabi niya. Siyempre, Judith was always looking for the good stuff. The things that are human, the things that value us as human beings, the things that make us complete, whole human beings, not just divided into the sensible, the scientific, but also the feeling, the compassionate, and the judging, and the sane, the intelligent, and the patriotic, compassionate, and nationalist.
Maraming salamat, Professor Edro Abulahan sa iyong reaksyon. At dahil na medyo kumukulang tayo ng time, konti, pupunta na tayo agad sa ating sunod na reactor para sa kanyang mahiting reaction din sa ating mga tagapagsalita. Ngayon naman upang makapagbigay ng tinig mula sa sektor ng mga pag-aaral ng mga natin ang tagapangulo ng College of Arts and Student Council, narito po si Chair Nelson.
Maraming salamat po sa nakaka-humble na mag-coexist sa isang espasyong kasama po ang ating mga guro. So bilang reaction po sa nasabi na ni Sir Ed, ni Dr. Ed, Dr. Judy, Dr. Bon, ating mga reactors, ako po ay mula sa Cal Student Council, ang chairperson po ng Cal Student Council. Dumating ako ng UP Diliman ng 2019, papasok dyan yung pumutok yung issue ng undemocratic selection ng CBA. Nandiyan din noong 2018-2019, pumutok yung tatag sa Executive Order 70 na siyang nagtatag sa NDFL-CAM na talagang mag-aanap ng napakaraming cases, anti-estudyante, anti-communidad sa maraming mga pagkakasin gaya UP. Nandiyan din nasaksihan ng kasama ang student movement sa mga undemocratic selection of deans, of chancellors. Yung recently lang ay yung president at yung bago natin yung PD chancellors. Kasi mga kabatagan, especially yung pagputok ng pandemya, meron kulang yung mga consultation spaces, processes para kunin yung mga sitwasyon ng mga estudyante. Para hingin yung kanilang mga hinaing, mga demanda, ukol kung sa pagbuo ng mga polisiya pagdating sa kung face-to-face classes pa, kung blended learning ba, hybrid ba, or what. Saksi po mga estudyante doon, saksi ako at saksi kami doon. Siguro ang word of the day, o kaya yung susukan sa mga nasabi kong context ay merong elemento ng pagiging undemocratic. O kawalan ng demokrasya sa pagkonsulta, sa pagkinig, sa pag-usap, sa mga komunidad, sa mga estudyante. Undemocratic, yun yung susuma sa aking experience bilang isang estudyante. At gaya po naman nasabi ng ating mga tagapagsalita, napakahalaga ng humanities na isang na sumisentro sa human experience, human realities. Mahalaga po yung humanistic tools of leadership para makapag-craft ng public policies, university policies sa talagang sasandig sa kahilingan, kagustuhan at interes sa mga estudyante at komunidad. Bilang pagtatapos, noong Prexy selection at UPD chance selection kamakailan lang, bumuo ang student community ng UP Diliman Student Agenda na siyang naglalathala, detail kung ano ba talaga yung kailangan ng papadors, athletes, student leaders, nandoon lahat at presenta namin ito sa mga nominees. More often than not, relegated ang student voices sa decision-making processes ng university. Kaya nga lagi kaming talo. Kaya madalas ay talo kami. Madalas ay nandiyan pa rin yung mahal additional tuition fees, additional sakal, no, mga fees ng pagtatanghal, practice, nandiyan pa rin. Madalas ay talo ang mga estudyante. Yun ay dahil relegated kami sa decision-making process. Siguro sa pagtatapos ay hope. Graduate din ako, alis ako ng university. Alis na ako sa student movement, youth sector, din. Pero nandiyan yung hope na darating yung araw na talaga genuinely mapuput into the core yung boses ng mga mamamayan, boses ng komunidad, boses ng estudyante sa pagdesisyon ng university. Maraming salamat.
Salamat, Chad. Sa punto po ito, may time tayo para sa dalawang 1 to 2 questions. I'm sure marami sa inyo may gusto kong tanong sa ating mga speakers. Kung meron pong din magtatanong sa ating Zoom, paki-raise hand na po o i-type sa comment section. Mga tanong para sa ating mga daigos nila.
Meron sa Zoom.
Meron sa Zoom. Sige, pwede natin basahin pa.
Nag-raise hand siya.
Nag-raise hand. Here.
Hello, good morning. Naririnig po ba ako?
Malina po.
Okay. Good morning. This is Joey De La Cruz po from UP Manila School of Health Sciences. Tanong ko lang po, ano na po ang nangyari sa perspective dati nung magkaroon ng pamantasang assembleya? At nakikita natin na mayroong challenges tayo, di ba, sa tipo ng pamumuno ng BOR sa mga desisyon nito. At ang naalala ko doon sa kasaysayan ng pagsusulong ng demokratikong karapatan at representasyon sa sa pamantasan ay isinulong ang pagkakaroon ng pamantasang assembleya. Na testing ito noon sa UP Manila noong panahon ni Chancellor Marita Reyes. Ano po ba, nakashelve na po ba itong ideya na ito or isusulong po natin ito sa usaping pandemokratikong kampanya ng pamantasan?
Sa Pastor Joey, sino po naman po ito?
Nangyari no, panahon ni President Abuelo, bumuhos siya ng reorganization committee for Manila. Dahil nagkaroon ng ilang problema dun sa pagtanggap ng mga estudyante sa college of medicine, hindi qualified. Pero pinilit ng UP administration na nagkakabit sila. Tapos nung nag-graduate sa akin sila, ayaw ko pag-graduate ng college of medicine. Pero nang grabe controversy sa UP Manila. Kasi UP Manila mga bumuhos si President Abuelo, UP Manila reorganization committee. Para overhaul yung structure ng governance. Isa sa mga proposals namin mo, this was proposed by Dr. Ernie Domingo na indicate the chancellor later on. Is to established by University Assembly. Ito yung magiging highest policy making body of UP Manila. UP Manila lang. At ang representation nito ay prorated percentage from faculty, certain percentage from the students, like some percentage from the staff. Nabuo ito, pinagprubahan ng Board of Regents yung sa University Assembly, was the highest policy making body of the pero subject to Board of Regents. So si Minda Luz Quesada, Alice University, yung naging unang pahulo ng University Assembly. At yung propose nitong University Assembly sa University, Ernie Domingo, ang naging chancellor sa ilang organization. At pero sa simula-simula pa, nagkaroon agad ng problema. Kasi nagkaroon ng conflict between the University Assembly and the chancellor. Hindi nagkakasundo yung dalawa. At which is ironic, the chancellor hindi ko propose kayo ng University Assembly. So hindi na pinapansin yung mga recommendations, mga decisions ng University Assembly. At nangyari ito, naging yung paper organization ng University Assembly. Hindi na pinapansin ng chancellor. So yun ang sayang. Hindi ko sana modelo pagkakaroon ng isang University Assembly. Talagang mga miyembro nito ay galing sa iba't sektor. Ay hindi nila kung naging nakakumpay sa atin naman, naging more supportive, chancellor noon, ay pwede sanang ma-replicate sa speakers. Hindi ko alam kung may sa pipiliman. Kung wala, sana magkaroon ng ganitong proposal. Bigyan ng second chance magkaroon ng ganitong class. governance.
Maraming salamat, Sir Ed, sa iyong tugon sa kanya mo. Meron po ang tugon mo sa salita. Kung wala, meron pa tayong discussion para sa isang uling tanong mula sa iba nating tagapanood mula sa TAL o baka sa Zoom. Meron pa po baka sa tanong?
May follow-up lang.
Okay, fine. Sorry, medyo malayo.
Nice one. Sa UPWIDE. Hindi po ba sinulong ito sa usaping UPY?
Hindi ko ba yung sinulong sa usaping UPY?
UPY din po. Kasi dalawa po yan 1 and 2.
Sir?
Kung may gusto sa akin tanong, kasi naging faculty regent kayo eh. So, mabuo kayo 3 years, more or less. 2 years. Ang gusto kong maintindihan talaga ang dynamics na nangyayari dyan sa faculty. Kasi alam natin, baka hindi alam ng iba, tatlo dyan appointees of the president. Okay? Yung tatlo, sector representatives, and then UP Alumni Association, isa, and then, hindi ko alam, 11 yata, o together, di ba? Yeah. Gusto ko lang maintindihan. Kasi nakikita ko parang hindi talaga nila nalalaman kung nangyayari dito sa babae. Baka naman mali ako. Kaya na, just enlighten us about the dynamics. Of course, this is a complicated question, but just a sense of what goes on really when hard decisions have to be made.
Siguro kung introduce ko sa akin ng nangyari sa Manila, naghanap sila ng mga alternative structures, UPY din, na pwedeng eventually, sa palagay ko, ay maging alternative sa BOR-like administrative structure. Dahil sa katunayan, ang BOR ay napaka-archaic na institusyon. Sabihin nito ay meron kang 11 tao lamang na nagtatalakay ng mga pinaka-importante mga usapin na hindi lang mga pag-uusap na yun sa maraming pagkakataon yung komunidad mismo. At kung 11 yan, 6 lang ang kinakailangan mo para magkaroon ng decision, diba? Yung mayorya. Dahil 6 lang, napakadali para sa ilang mga grupo, mga pangkatin na interested, no? Na magmaniobra ng ganyang klaseng bilang. Kaya sa palagay ko, ang BOR ay talagang isang hindi na napapanapon. Hindi na dapat kung pag-usapan natin at least ng mga prinsipyo ng RA 9500, kaugnay ng democratic kung pamamahala, collegiality, diba? The BOR itself as a structure is sort of contradicts those principles. Kaya siguro, bakit ko namin yung composition para sa kanino. So, nandun yung chair, bilang chair ng board. Number 2, nandun yung president. Number 3, nandun yung Senate Committee Head for Education, Congress Committee for Education, may 4 na tayo. Meron tayong 3 mula sa Malacanang appointees. Tapos meron tayong alumni region. Tapos meron tayong 3 sectoral regions. Right? Kulang pa nga tayo sa isang sector, yung reps natin ay napaglaman natin nung ginagawa yung RA 9500 na magkaroon ng representation. Kaya namin ang pinag-usapan natin maging even number. Yung bilang, so, in principle, tingin ko ay malaki. Kung gano'n ang problema natin ngayon, at lalo na sa mga nasanay na natuto kung paano mamanipula ang proseso sa BOR, ay laki-laki ng problema natin ngayon sa archaic na structure ng ito. Ngayon, ang problema natin, mababago lamang ang BOR structure sa pamamagitan ng pagbago ng batas ng RA 9500. In rather do we want that to happen during a BDN administration? We'll have revised for our RA 9. Maybe not, no, at this particular historical conjuncture, the ideal. Kaya na mahalaga na balikan natin itong mga karanasan na yung Manila, at iba pa, para UP wider, nabanggit, para pag-simula natin tuloy-tuloy, kahit hindi tayo pagkakataon, magkaroon ng structure talaga na papalit dito sa BOR. No, it is rapidly losing relevance and legitimacy in this institution. No? And that's partly because of its own doing. Right? Kaya, yan, so yung mas longer term yata ang ating mga usapin magtulad na.
Gawin, sino yung tatlong Malacanang appointees? Kilala natin yung iba eh. Yung Malacanang appointees. It's okay.
Si pagkakanan.
It's public information.
Oh, he was. During my time, Gigi was
Present na.
president. So, si Choco, yan. Choco, Gladys Choco, pagkakanan. And Dr. Pastor Fide, Gladys Choco, and pagkakanan. They're the three Malacanang agents. Yeah, so kapalit-palit yan, and of course they have something, they have a connection, a link with Malacanang. And sabi nga nila, the Gigi, he was during the Duterte time, current President Jimenez was a Malacanang appointing the board. Sabi nga niya, I can vote freely in the board if there is no command from Malacanang. But if there is a command or decision from Malacanang, then I will have to comply. Yun naman ang sinasabi ni Igor. Very honestly, sinasabi naman ni Gigi.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat po sa ating mga tagapagsalita sa pagtugon sa ating mga tanong.
Bago po tayo magtapos, unahan pa lang natin ang ating mga speakers. Bago po natin tapusin ng forum, tawagan po namin si Pag-Tulis Revoluta mula sa Action Center para sa isang announcement.
Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Pagkatapos po ng forum na ito, meron pong mangyayari na ilang pang forum sa mga darating na araw. Ang kasunod na forum ay mangyayari ng Thursday, May 11, 4 p.m. Ang mga kasamahan po natin sa Institute of Math ay mayroong in-organize na Forum on Democratic Governance, Today's Challenges and UP's Prospects. Marami rin makakasama din ng mga speakers. Sa Sabado ho ay meron din in-organize sa Action Center, pero karamihan mo ito ay mga estudyante. Wala pang oras, pero antabayanan din. Yun lang.
Maraming salamat po. So marami po tayong antabayanan ng mga susunod na forum na ito ay isang talagang university-wide na usapin. At sana sa pagdalo sa ating forum ngayong araw ay lalo tayong na-inspire at lalo tayong nahimok na sumali sa ating struggle para magkaroon ng mga kalas. Haba ating laban.
At sana ay madalang din natin ang ating mga entrepreneur at mga puro-puro na punto mula sa forum na ito sa parating din para sa mga faculty. So, yung parating na University Council meeting na magagawa sa UNES, sana po kasama sa ulit tayo at maibahagi ang tingin nyo sa usapin na ito. Maraming salamat po. Ako ulit si Monsi. Ito po sa maraming salamat po.